The woman who didn't belong. Jasmine Reed stood in a corner of the Grand Cascade Hotel ballroom, trying to make herself invisible. The champagne glass in her hand was mostly for show. She didn't belong here among people who spent more on shoes than she made in a month. The invitation had been meant for her supervisor at the youth center, but Mrs. Patterson had come down with pneumonia. Someone had to represent the program at this charity event, and Jasmine had drawn the short straw. She watched couples glide across the marble floor, their laughter echoing off crystal chandeliers that probably cost more than her student loans. Everything sparkled. Everything gleamed. It all felt like a different planet. The noise started giving her a headache. Too many voices trying to be heard over too many other voices. Jasmine slipped away from the crowd, following a quiet hallway lined with original paintings. At the end, she found a small library alcove. The walls were covered in leather-bound books that looked like they had never been opened. A single lamp cast warm light across a velvet reading chair. Finally, she could breathe. The man who needed to disappear. That's when she saw him. A man in an expensive suit stood by the window, his back to her. He wasn't looking at the view. He was just standing there, completely still, like someone who had finally stopped running. "Sorry," Jasmine said softly. "I didn't know anyone else was hiding." He turned. The man was handsome in that sharp, careful way that made Jasmine think of magazine covers and corporate headshots. Dark hair, serious eyes, the kind of jaw that looked like it had been designed by someone who understood geometry. But there was something tired in his expression. Something human beneath the polish. "Hiding," he repeated, and the corner of his mouth lifted slightly. "That's exactly what I'm doing." Jasmine stepped inside but kept her distance. From the party or from life? Both, probably. He loosened his tie a fraction. These events all blur together after a while. "This is my first one," Jasmine admitted. "I'm only here because my boss got sick." "Lucky you," he said, but his tone suggested he meant the opposite. They stood in comfortable silence for a moment. Jasmine noticed he wasn't drinking champagne. Just water in a plain glass. "I'm Bennett," he said finally. "Jasmine." Neither of them offered a last name. Something about that felt right, like they were meeting outside the normal rules. A conversation without masks. Bennett gestured to the books. "Have you read any of these?" Jasmine scanned the titles. "Most of them are just for decoration. Nobody puts books you actually read in a hotel library." He laughed. It was a real laugh, not the careful sound she'd heard in the ballroom. "You're probably right. So what do you actually read?" "Anything I can get my hands on," Jasmine said. "Right now I'm working through poetry. Mary Oliver, mostly. She writes about paying attention to the world." "Paying attention," Bennett said quietly. "I used to do that. Before everything became about spreadsheets and quarterly reports." Jasmine found herself relaxing. "What did you pay attention to?" "Architecture. Buildings. The way light moves through spaces." He looked around the alcove. "This room, for instance. Someone designed it to feel separate from everything else. Notice how the ceiling is lower. The walls curve slightly. It's meant to feel like a refuge." Jasmine looked up, really seeing the space for the first time. He was right. "What do you do?" Bennett asked. "I'm an art therapist. I work with kids who've been through rough situations. We use painting and drawing to help them process things they can't say out loud." Something shifted in Bennett's expression. "That must be hard." "It is," Jasmine said. "But it matters. These kids, they just need someone to see them. Really see them. And you do that." "I try." Bennett moved closer to the bookshelf, running his finger along the spines. "I have a daughter." "Had." "Have." I don't know the right word anymore. I haven't seen her in 8 months. Her mother got full custody. The confession hung in the air. Jasmine didn't know what to say, so she said the only true thing she could think of. That must hurt. Every day. Bennett's voice was barely above a whisper. I built this empire thinking it would give her everything. Instead, it took me away from her. The night that changed everything, they talked for another hour. Maybe two. Time felt different in that quiet space. Bennett told her about growing up with a father who measured love in dollars. Jasmine told him about her mother who worked 3 jobs and still couldn't keep the lights on. They talked about loneliness, the kind that exists even in crowded rooms. Maybe especially in crowded rooms. When Bennett's phone buzzed for the 5th time, he finally looked at it. I should go back. People will notice I'm gone. Right, Jasmine said, suddenly aware of how close they'd gotten. When had they moved so near to each other? Bennett looked at her like he was trying to memorize her face. I don't do this. Talk to people like this, I mean. Neither do I. Would you? He stopped, started again. My suite is upstairs. Would you want to just keep talking? Away from all of this? Jasmine knew what he was really asking. She should say no. She should go back to her tiny apartment and her normal life. But something about this night felt suspended outside of regular time. Outside of consequences. Yes, she said. A different kind of truth. The suite was stunning, all floor-to-ceiling windows and minimal furniture. But Jasmine barely noticed. They stood in the center of the room, and Bennett reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. She didn't. His kiss was gentle. Careful. Like he was asking a question with every touch. Jasmine answered by pulling him closer. They moved to the bedroom, shedding clothes and uncertainty together. I should tell you, Jasmine whispered against his shoulder. I've never done this before. Bennett pulled back, searching her face. Never. She shook her head. We can stop, he said immediately. We don't have to. I want to, Jasmine interrupted. I'm choosing this. I'm choosing you. Just for tonight. What followed was tender and awkward and real. Bennett was patient, checking in with small questions and careful movements. Jasmine felt vulnerable and powerful all at once. When it was over, they lay tangled together, not speaking, just breathing in the same quiet space they'd found earlier. Jasmine fell asleep first. When she woke near dawn, Bennett was still there, one arm draped over her waist. She watched him sleep and thought about how different he looked without the weight of the world on his face. She should have woken him before leaving. Should have asked for his number or given him hers. But something made her want to keep this night separate from everything else. A perfect moment that couldn't be touched by reality. Jasmine dressed quietly and slipped out as the first light touched the city skyline. 6 weeks later. The pregnancy test sat on the bathroom counter, 2 pink lines impossibly clear. Jasmine stared at it until the lines blurred. She took 3 more tests. They all said the same thing. Her hands shook as she pulled out the business card she'd kept in her wallet. She hadn't looked at it since that night. Bennett Cross, it read. CEO, Cross Properties and Hospitality Group. Below that, an address. Jasmine knew what she had to do. He deserved to know, even if he didn't want to be involved. Even if he barely remembered her name. She called the number and asked for a private meeting. The assistant sounded suspicious but scheduled her for the following Tuesday at 10 in the morning. 10 minutes, the assistant said firmly. Mr. Cross is very busy. When Tuesday came, Jasmine wore her best dress and practiced what she would say. She rode the elevator to the 20th floor, walked past assistants and glass walls and that same expensive shine she'd seen at the hotel. Bennett's office door opened. He stepped in, confident and controlled, eyes scanning a tablet. He barely glanced at her. You asked for a meeting, he said. His voice was professional. Distant. Like they were strangers. Maybe they were. Jasmine reached into her bag with trembling hands. She pulled out a manila envelope and placed it on his desk. He opened it. Pulled out the ultrasound image. Stared. The silence stretched between them like a chasm. "I'm 8 weeks pregnant," Jasmine said, her voice steady despite her racing heart. "The baby is yours." Bennett's face went blank. "I think you're mistaken." "I'm not. I meet a lot of people at events." His tone was careful. Guarded. "You'll need to be more specific." Jasmine pulled out the business card and placed it beside the ultrasound. The Grand Cascade Hotel. April 23rd. "You told me about your daughter. I told you about my work. We talked in the library alcove for 2 hours. Something flickered in his eyes. Recognition, maybe. Or fear. "I was a virgin before that night," Jasmine continued. "There's no question about paternity." That stopped him. His whole body went still. "I'm not here to ask for anything," Jasmine said. "Not money, not marriage, not even your time. I just thought you should know. Because one day this child will ask about their father, and I want to tell them I did the right thing." She stood, collecting her bag. Before she left, she placed one more item on his desk. A small portfolio tied with string. "What's that?" Bennett asked. "Sketches," Jasmine said. "I'm an artist too, remember? I started drawing you the day after. But I could never finish your face. I didn't know what you looked like in daylight." She walked to the door, hand on the handle. "Wait," Bennett said. But Jasmine was already gone, the door closing softly behind her. She'd said what she needed to say. The rest was up to him. The call she didn't expect. 3 days passed in silence. Jasmine went back to work, leading art therapy sessions with kids who needed her steady presence. She painted at night, trying to capture the strange mix of emotions swirling inside her. Relief that she'd told him. Sadness that he hadn't responded. Determination to build a life for this baby with or without Bennett crossed out. On the 4th day, her phone rang. Unknown number. "This is Jasmine," she answered. "Miss Reed, this is Patricia Huang, Mr. Cross's attorney. He would like to meet with you tomorrow at 2 o'clock. A car will pick you up." Jasmine's stomach dropped. A lawyer? Is he disputing paternity? Mr. Cross simply wishes to discuss arrangements. The car will arrive at 1:30. The line went dead. Jasmine spent the next 24 hours imagining worst-case scenarios. Custody battles. Legal threats. A man with unlimited resources trying to take her child or erase her from the story entirely. The black car that arrived was sleek and silent. The driver opened her door without speaking. They drove for 30 minutes, leaving the city behind, winding up into hills where houses hid behind gates and security cameras. They stopped in front of a modern home, all glass and clean lines, perched on the hillside like it was watching over everything below. Bennett waited at the front door. He wore jeans and a simple shirt. No tie. No armor. He looked like he hadn't slept. "Thank you for coming," he said quietly. Jasmine followed him inside. The house was beautiful but cold. Everything perfectly arranged. Nothing out of place. It felt like a showroom for a life nobody actually lived. An offer she never imagined. They sat in his living room, a glass coffee table between them. Bennett slid a leather folder across to her. "I had my lawyers draw this up," he said. "It's a proposal." Jasmine opened it slowly. Her hands felt numb. The document was titled, Cohabitation and Prenatal Care Agreement. As she read, her eyebrows rose higher and higher. Bennett was offering her a suite in his home for the duration of the pregnancy. Everything she could need without having to see him. The first week, they barely spoke. Jasmine heard him moving through the house early in the morning, gone by 7. He returned late, long after she'd retreated to her room. They were ghosts haunting the same beautiful space, but small things started appearing. A heating pad on her bed when her back ached. Ginger tea in the cabinet when morning sickness hit. Prenatal vitamins, the good kind, appearing in the bathroom without explanation. Jasmine never thanked him directly. But she started leaving small sketches around the house. A coffee cup. A view from the window. Nothing personal. Just acknowledgement that she noticed his noticing. Their first doctor's appointment was awkward. They sat in the waiting room like strangers, not looking at each other. When her name was called, Jasmine stood. Bennett stood too. You don't have to, she started. I want to, he said. If that's okay. She nodded. The exam room felt too small with both of them in it. The ultrasound technician chatted cheerfully, spreading cold gel across Jasmine's stomach. Bennett stood by the window, hands in his pockets, not quite looking. Then the heartbeat filled the room. Fast and strong and undeniably real. Bennett's head turned. He stepped closer, eyes fixed on the screen. He started, then stopped. That's your baby, the technician said warmly. Jasmine watched his face change. The careful control cracked. For just a moment, he looked overwhelmed. Terrified. Amazed. The daughter he lost 2 weeks into their arrangement, Bennett's daughter called. Jasmine only knew because she heard him in his study, voice tight with emotion. I miss you too, sweetheart. Every day. I know. I promised. Your mom is right to be upset. No, it's not your fault. None of this is your fault. Jasmine stood outside the door, not meaning to eavesdrop but unable to walk away. 12 is next month. I remember. I'll send something special. I love you, Harper. More than anything. The call ended. Silence followed. Jasmine knocked softly. Come in, Bennett said after a long pause. That he sat at his desk, head in his hands. The powerful CEO looked completely defeated. Your daughter? Jasmine asked. That he nodded. Harper. She turns 12 next month. She wanted to know if I'd be there for her birthday party. Will you? Her mother won't allow it. Court order. Supervised visits only, and we haven't been able to coordinate schedules. Jasmine sat in the chair across from him. What happened? Bennett was quiet for so long she thought he wouldn't answer. Then, I chose work over her. Every time. Every recital, every parent conference, every bedtime. I told myself I was building something for her future. But I was really just building walls. You can't get her back. Not unless I prove I've changed. And how do you prove that from a distance? His laugh was bitter. The irony is, I finally understand what matters. Right when it's too late. Jasmine thought about the baby growing inside her. About all the ways a parent could fail without meaning to. It's not too late, she said quietly. Harper is still here. You're still here. That means there's still time. Bennett looked at her like she'd said something revolutionary. The fear that binds them. The next morning, Jasmine woke to find a step stool by the reading chair in the living room. Just the right height to keep her feet elevated. No note. No explanation. She found Bennett in the kitchen, making coffee. Thank you, she said. For the stool. He nodded, not looking up. Your ankles were swelling yesterday. You noticed that? I notice everything. He paused. It's what I do. Notice things, fix problems, maintain control. And you think I'm a problem to fix? No. Bennett finally met her eyes. I think you're the first person in years who doesn't need me to fix anything. And that terrifies me. Jasmine poured herself juice, considering his words. Why does that scare you? Because if you don't need me, why would you stay? Why would this baby need me? The vulnerability in his voice caught her off guard. Need isn't the same as want. Jasmine said. And it's definitely not the same as love. Your daughter doesn't need you to buy her things or fix her problems. She needs you to show up. To be present. To prove that she matters more than everything else. Bennett set his coffee down. How do I do that from here? You call her every week at the same time. You send letters. You learn her favorite things and remember them. You build trust one small moment at a time. And with this baby? Jasmine placed a hand on her stomach. You do the same thing. You show up. Even when it's hard. Especially when it's hard. The night everything shifted at 20 weeks, Jasmine had her anatomy scan. Bennett drove her to the appointment himself this time. They sat together in the waiting room, and for the first time, it felt less like an obligation and more like a shared experience. The ultrasound took longer than usual. The technician kept measuring, checking, making notes. Jasmine felt her anxiety spike. Is something wrong? She asked. Let me get the doctor, the technician said with a careful smile. Bennett's hand found hers. She didn't pull away. The doctor came in, reviewed the images, and smiled. Everything is fine. Baby is healthy and developing normally. But there is something I need to monitor. You have a condition called placenta previa. It means the placenta is covering your cervix right now. Is that dangerous? Bennett asked, his grip tightening. It can be if it doesn't resolve. We'll monitor it closely. For now, I want you on modified bed rest. No heavy lifting. Minimal stress. We'll check again in 4 weeks. On the drive home, Bennett was silent. His jaw was set, hands tight on the steering wheel. I'm going to be fine, Jasmine said. You don't know that. Neither do you. But worrying won't change anything. Bennett pulled into the driveway and turned off the car. He didn't move to get out. When Harper was born, he said quietly, there were complications. Her mother hemorrhaged. They rushed her to surgery. I stood outside those doors for 3 hours thinking I was going to lose them both. Jasmine waited. I promised myself I'd never feel that helpless again. So I built walls. Made money. Controlled everything I could control. And I lost them anyway. He turned to face her. I can't lose you too. Either of you. You won't, Jasmine said, though she couldn't promise that. But you have to let me be part of this. Not just an obligation you're managing. How do I do that? By being honest. By being here. By being scared with me instead of trying to be strong for me. That night, Bennett knocked on her door. Can I come in? Jasmine was in bed, sketching. She nodded. He sat in the chair by her window, not too close but not distant either. Tell me about your paintings, he said. The ones you make for the kids. So she did. She talked about colors and emotions, about how trauma leaves marks you can see if you know how to look. About the boy who only drew in black until the day he added one yellow sun. About the girl who painted her foster parents as superheroes. Bennett listened. Really listened. Asked questions. Shared stories about the buildings he'd designed before business consumed him. They talked until Jasmine's eyes grew heavy. As Bennett stood to leave, he paused at the door. I'm glad you came back, he said. Even if it took this to bring you here. After he left, Jasmine picked up her sketchbook. For the first time, she drew his face completely. Not the distant CEO. Not the careful businessman. Just Bennett. Tired and trying and terrified and real, she fell asleep with the drawing on her chest, one hand resting on the baby who was bringing them together in the most unexpected way. The discovery that changed everything. Jasmine's modified bed rest meant more time at home, more time noticing things about the house. She started exploring the rooms Bennett never used. The library filled with architectural books. The music room with a piano covered in dust. The office that overlooked the entire valley. She was looking for printer paper, something plain to sketch on, when she opened the bottom drawer of his desk. Inside were files. Dozens of them. And her name on every single one. Her hands shook as she pulled them out. Articles, printed and highlighted. Background checks. Financial records. And worse, information about her father, Miguel Reed. Former accountant. Convicted of embezzlement 15 years ago. Currently serving time in a federal prison 3 states away, but it wasn't just information about her father. It was about his crimes. Specifically, the company he'd destroyed, Cross Family Enterprises. Bennett's father's company. The one that collapsed when Jasmine was 13, right before her father disappeared. The pieces fell into place with sickening clarity. Her father had stolen from Bennett's family. Had destroyed everything they built. And Bennett had known. This whole time, he'd known who she was. Jasmine sat on the floor, papers scattered around her like evidence of a crime she hadn't committed but was being punished for anyway. Had he sought her out that night? Had it all been planned? Or had he recognized her name later and said nothing? Her phone buzzed. A text from Bennett. Home in an hour. Want me to pick up dinner? She stared at the message, then at the files. The carefully organized documentation of her family's sins. When Bennett walked through the door 60 minutes later, Jasmine was waiting in the living room. The files were stacked neatly on the coffee table. He saw them and went still. When were you going to tell me? Jasmine asked. Her voice was calm. Too calm. Bennett set down the takeout bags slowly. Tell you what? That my father destroyed your family. That you've known who I am this entire time. Jasmine, did you know at the gala? When we met? No. Bennett moved closer, hands up like approaching something fragile. I didn't know until the clinic when I saw your full name. And you said nothing. What was I supposed to say? Jasmine stood, anger finally breaking through. The truth, Bennett. You were supposed to tell me the truth. Did you think I was like him? That I knew? That I came to that gala to get close to you somehow? The look on his face told her everything. You did, she whispered. You thought I was running some kind of scheme. At first, Bennett admitted. Just for a moment. But then what? You decided to keep me close. Watch me. Make sure I wasn't going to finish what my father started. No. I wanted to protect you. From what? From knowing. From carrying that burden. Bennett's control finally cracked. Your father destroyed everything my family built. My father never recovered. He died believing he'd failed at the one thing that mattered to him. So yes, when I saw your last name, I investigated. I needed to know. And what did you find? That you were nothing like him. That you'd spent your whole life trying to be different. That you worked 3 jobs to pay for college because his crimes destroyed your credit. That you, his voice broke. That you deserved better than the hand you'd been dealt. Jasmine felt tears on her cheeks. So you what? Decided to save me? To make up for what my father did by taking care of his daughter? That's not what this is. Then what is it, Bennett? Because from where I'm standing, it looks like I'm just another thing you're trying to control. Another problem you're managing. You're not a problem, Bennett said desperately. But Jasmine was already walking away, heading to her room. She packed quickly. Essentials only. Her sketchbooks. The ultrasound pictures. The few things that felt like hers. Bennett stood in the hallway. Please don't go. I can't stay here knowing you never trusted me. Knowing every kind gesture was built on suspicion. That's not true. Isn't it? Jasmine zipped her bag. You made me sign a contract before you'd let me in your life. You investigated my background. You've been waiting this whole time for me to show my true colors. I was wrong, Bennett said. I was scared and controlling and wrong. But please, the baby will be fine. I'll keep you informed. We'll follow the custody arrangement we agreed on. But I can't be here. Not like this. Jasmine called a car. Bennett didn't try to stop her, just stood there as she walked out the door. As the car pulled away, she saw him in the driveway. Not moving. Not following. Just watching her disappear like everyone eventually did, she pressed her hand to her stomach. It's just us now, she whispered to the baby. And that's going to be enough. It has to be. Starting over, again. Jasmine's childhood friend Rachel lived in a small house 40 minutes outside the city. When Jasmine called at 9 at night asking if she could stay, Rachel didn't ask questions. Just said, "I'll leave the door unlocked." The guest room was tiny but clean. Jasmine lay in bed, one hand on her belly, feeling the baby move. Strong kicks now. Active. The doctor had said that was a good sign. Her phone buzzed constantly. Bennett. Then his lawyer. Then Bennett again. She turned it off. For 3 days, she existed in a fog. Rachel went to work, Jasmine taught her online classes from the kitchen table, and they ate quiet dinners where Rachel respected her silence. On the 4th day, a package arrived. No return address. Inside was the portfolio she'd left at Bennett's office months ago. Her sketches of him, the ones she'd never finished. But someone had finished them. Clumsy additions in a different hand. The shading was wrong. The proportions off. But someone had tried. Beneath the drawings was a letter. Handwritten on expensive paper. Jasmine, I'm not good with words. I'm better with numbers and contracts and things I can control. But you asked for honesty, so here it is. When I saw your name at the clinic, I did investigate. I was angry. My father died bitter and broken because of what yours did. Part of me wanted to believe you were part of it somehow. That would have made everything simpler. But you weren't. You were just a woman who'd been dealt the worst possible hand and somehow turned it into a life of helping others. You were kind when you had every reason to be bitter. You were strong when you had every reason to break. You were everything I'd forgotten how to be. I should have told you. I was a coward that I've spent the last 3 days trying to figure out how to fix this. But I can't fix it. I can only tell you that everything I did after that first week wasn't about your father. It was about you. About us. About trying to be worthy of the second chance you didn't even know you were giving me. I've started therapy. Real therapy, not the corporate kind they mandate for executives. I'm learning to recognize when I'm trying to control things because I'm scared. I'm learning that trust isn't something you investigate your way into. I've also been writing to Harper every day. Not emails. Actual letters. Telling her about my day, asking about hers. Her mother says Harper keeps them in a box by her bed. I'm trying, Jasmine. I know that's not enough. But it's all I have to offer. The house feels empty without you. Not because you filled space, but because you filled silence. You made me remember what it feels like to be seen. I'm not asking you to come back. I'm just asking you to know that you were never a problem I was trying to solve. You were the solution I didn't know I needed. Whatever you decide, I'll support it. Because you deserve to make choices without someone trying to control the outcome that I've spent the last 3 days trying to figure out how to fix this. But I can't fix it. I can only tell you that everything I did after that first week wasn't about your father. It was about you. About us. About trying to be worthy of the second chance you didn't even know you were giving me. I've started therapy. Real therapy, not the corporate kind they mandate for executives. I'm learning to recognize when I'm trying to control things because I'm scared. I'm learning that trust isn't something you investigate your way into. I've also been writing to Harper every day. Not emails. Actual letters. Telling her about my day, asking about hers. Her mother says Harper keeps them in a box by her bed. I'm trying, Jasmine. I know that's not enough. But it's all I have to offer. The house feels empty without you. Not because you filled space, but because you filled silence. You made me remember what it feels like to be seen. I'm not asking you to come back. I'm just asking you to know that you were never a problem I was trying to solve. You were the solution I didn't know I needed. Whatever you decide, I'll support it. Because you deserve to make choices without someone trying to control the outcome, Bennett. Jasmine read the letter 3 times. Then she looked at the sketches. His additions were terrible, truly awful. But he'd tried. He'd taken something precious and risked ruining it just to show her he was willing to be vulnerable. That night, she started a new drawing. Not of Bennett. Of herself. Of the woman she was becoming. Soft in some places, sharp in others. Scared but standing. Alone but not lonely. The unexpected visitor. 2 weeks after leaving, Jasmine was sketching at Rachel's kitchen table when the doorbell rang. Rachel was at work. Jasmine wasn't expecting anyone. Through the window, she saw an elegant woman in her 40s. Tailored clothes. Careful makeup. The kind of polish that took money and time. Jasmine opened the door cautiously. "Can I help you?" "You're Jasmine Reed," the woman said. It wasn't a question. "Who are you?" "Amanda Cross. Bennett's ex-wife." "May I come in?" Every instinct told Jasmine to say no. But curiosity won. She stepped aside. Amanda sat on the couch like she owned it, then seemed to catch herself and softened. "I'm not here to cause trouble. I'm here because my daughter won't stop talking about you." "Harper?" "I've never met Harper." "No, but Bennett writes about you in his letters. About the baby. About how you make him want to be better." Amanda's expression was complicated. "Harper asked me if she could meet her future sibling." Jasmine sat down slowly. "What did you tell her?" "That I'd think about it." Amanda studied her. "I came to see what kind of person you are. Whether you're real or if Bennett has invented another fantasy to avoid dealing with reality." "I'm very real," Jasmine said quietly. "And I'm not sure what Bennett told Harper, but things are complicated right now. He told her he made mistakes. That he's trying to fix them but it might be too late." Amanda's voice softened. "That doesn't sound like the Bennett I knew. He never admitted to mistakes." "People change. Do they?" Amanda challenged. "Or do they just find new ways to control things?" Jasmine thought about the files, the contract, the careful way Bennett had structured everything. "I think Bennett is trying. But I also think he's terrified. And fear makes people do controlling things." Amanda nodded slowly. "You're smarter than I was. I thought love would change him. But you can't love someone into being different." "I don't love him," Jasmine said automatically. "Don't you?" Amanda smiled sadly. "I saw the way your face changed when I mentioned his name. You're angry at him. That only happens when you care." Jasmine's hand went to her stomach. The baby was moving again, restless. "What do you want from me?" Jasmine asked. "Permission," Amanda said. "To bring Harper to meet you. Not Bennett, not yet. But you. She's old enough to understand that her father is having another child. I'd rather she meet you on our terms than have it become something shameful or hidden." "That's very mature of you." Amanda laughed. "I'm not being mature. I'm being strategic. Harper is going to have a sibling whether I like it or not. Better to shape that relationship than let it become something that divides her further from her father." It was calculated. But it was also honest. "Okay," Jasmine said. "She can meet me. But I have conditions." "Name them." "Bennett doesn't know. Not until after. This isn't about him. It's about Harper and this baby and the fact that they're going to be connected for life. Amanda extended her hand. Deal. A sister's gift. Harper Cross arrived the following Saturday. She was tall for 12, with Bennett's dark eyes and her mother's careful composure. But when she smiled, something genuine broke through. "You're really pregnant," Harper said, staring at Jasmine's belly. "Really pregnant," Jasmine confirmed. They sat in Rachel's backyard, sun filtering through the trees. Amanda stayed inside, giving them space. "Dad writes about you," Harper said. "In his letters. He says you're an artist." "I am. I teach kids how to use art to express their feelings." "What if you don't have feelings about things?" Jasmine looked at this girl, so carefully controlled. "Everyone has feelings. Sometimes we just get really good at hiding them." Harper was quiet for a moment. Then, "Do you love my dad?" "I don't know," Jasmine answered honestly. "I care about him. But love is complicated. My therapist says people confuse love with need. That you can love someone and still not be good for each other. Your therapist is right. Are you good for my dad?" Jasmine considered the question. "I think I make him want to be better. But I can't make him better. Only he can do that." Harper nodded like this made sense. "Can I feel the baby kick?" Jasmine took Harper's hand and placed it on her stomach. The baby obliged with a solid thump. Harper's face lit up. "Whoa. That's so weird. Want to know something cool? Your little brother or sister can hear us right now. They know your voice already." Harper leaned closer. "Hi, baby. I'm Harper. I'm your big sister. I'm going to teach you stuff. Like how to avoid getting in trouble and which snacks mom keeps on the top shelf." Jasmine laughed. It felt good. Normal. They spent 2 hours together. Harper showed Jasmine pictures of her school, her friends, her art projects. Jasmine showed Harper some of her sketches. "You drew Dad," Harper said, pointing to one drawing. "I did. You made him look sad. But like, the kind of sad that's underneath everything else. You're very perceptive." "I get it from him," Harper said. "He notices everything. Even when you wish he wouldn't." When it was time to leave, Harper hugged Jasmine. "Will I get to see you again?" "If you want to." "I do." "And Jasmine? Thank you for not being mean about me. I know some stepmothers are." "I'm not your stepmother," Jasmine said gently. "Not yet," Harper said with Bennett's same confident smile. "But you could be." After they left, Jasmine found a small envelope Harper had left behind. Inside was a drawing. 2 stick figures, one big and one tiny, holding hands. Above them it said, "Sisters." Jasmine pressed the drawing to her chest and cried. Not from sadness. From hope. The grand gesture that almost worked. Jasmine went for her checkup alone. The placenta previa had resolved. The baby was healthy. Everything was progressing normally. She should have felt relieved. Instead, she felt hollow. As she left the doctor's office, she found Bennett in the parking lot. Leaning against her car. "How did you know I'd be here?" she asked. "It's your 30-week appointment." "I remember." They stood there, careful space between them. "Harper told me she met you," Bennett said. "I should be angry she went behind my back. But I'm just grateful. She's a good kid." "She is. Thanks to Amanda, not me." He pushed off the car. "I'm not here to pressure you. I just wanted to give you something." He handed her a folder. "Not a contract this time. Just papers." Jasmine opened it. Inside were letters. Dozens of them. Letters from Bennett to Harper, detailing his therapy sessions, his realizations, his attempts to change. Letters from Harper back, tentative at first, then warmer. And at the end, an email from Amanda's lawyer. Joint custody, Jasmine read. She's giving you back joint custody. Not giving. I earned it. Therapy, consistency, showing up. I've been flying to Oregon every other weekend for 6 months. Amanda saw the change. Real change, not performance. That's wonderful, Bennett. I wanted you to see that I'm capable of it. Of changing. Of being present. Not because I'm trying to win you back, but because you deserve to know. Jasmine looked at him. Really looked. He was thinner. Tired. But there was something lighter about him too. Like he'd set down a weight he'd been carrying for years. I'm proud of you, she said. That's not why I'm telling you. Then why? Bennett stepped closer. Because I want you to know that if you give me another chance, I won't waste it. I won't hide behind control or contracts or fear. I'll be present. Honest. Real. Even when it's messy. Bennett, I know I don't deserve it. I know I broke your trust. But I'm asking anyway. Come home. Not to my house. To our home. The place we built together. Where we're both equals. Both scared. Both trying. Jasmine felt tears threatening. I can't make decisions based on what you want. I have to think about this baby. Then think about this. Harper wants to be part of their life. My family, the one I'm rebuilding, wants to meet them. You've been alone for so long, carrying everything yourself. But you don't have to anymore. Not because you need me, but because you deserve support. Partnership. Love. You love me. The words came out barely above a whisper. I think I started loving you the night we met. I was just too afraid to admit it. Too controlled. But yes, Jasmine. I love you. Not because you're carrying my child. Not because you make me want to be better. But because when I'm with you, I feel like the person I was supposed to be all along. Jasmine pressed her hands to her face. Part of her wanted to say yes immediately. To fall into his arms and believe in second chances. But another part, the part that had survived her father's betrayal and her mother's struggles, knew that words weren't enough. I need time, she said. Bennett nodded. Take all the time you need. I'll be here. Actually here. Not performing or controlling. Just waiting. Hoping. Believing. He turned to leave, then stopped. Oh, and Jasmine. Rachel's landlord is selling her house. She needs to move in 3 weeks. Just thought you should know. He walked away before she could respond. The choice that changes everything. Rachel did need to move. Her landlord was selling to developers. She'd found a place, but it was smaller. No room for a guest. Jasmine had 3 weeks to figure out where to go. She looked at apartments, but everything that accepted pregnant single women cost more than she could afford. She thought about moving back with her mother, but that was 3 states away, far from her job, her life, her doctor. She was teaching an online class when the baby kicked hard. Then again. And again. Miss Reed? One of her students, Tomas, said through the screen. Are you okay? Jasmine realized she was crying. I'm fine. Just overwhelmed. My mom says being overwhelmed means you're trying to carry too much alone, Tomas said. His mother worked 4 jobs after his father left. He understood single parents. After the class, Jasmine sat with her hands on her belly. The baby was quiet now. Listening, maybe. What do I do? She whispered. The answer came not in words, but in feeling. This baby deserved a father who was trying. Harper deserved to know her sibling. And Jasmine deserved to stop running from the possibility of being hurt. She picked up her phone. Dialed. Bennett? It's me. Can you come to Rachel's? We need to talk. He arrived in 20 minutes. Must have been speeding. They sat on the porch where she'd sat with Harper. Full circle. I have conditions, Jasmine said. Name them. No more secrets. Ever. Even the ones you think will protect me. Agreed. We see a counselor. Together. I need to trust you again, and that takes work. Already found one. If you're willing. Harper comes first. Always. This baby doesn't replace her. They're both your children. I know. Bennett's voice cracked. Harper taught me that. Said she was excited to not be the only one anymore. And I'm not moving into your house. We're finding a place together. Something neither of us owns. Neutral ground. Bennett smiled. Actually smiled. I already started looking. Found a few options. But I won't choose without you. Jasmine took a breath. And I need you to know that I'm still angry. That trust isn't automatic. That I might flinch when you try to protect me. That this is going to be hard. I know. And I need you to promise that if it doesn't work, if we try and it's not enough, you'll still be there for this baby. That you won't disappear like my father did. Bennett reached out slowly, giving her time to pull away. When she didn't, he took her hands. I promise. On everything I am, everything I'm trying to become. I will be there. For both of you. Always. Jasmine searched his face. Looked for the lies, the control, the fear. But all she saw was a man who'd spent months learning how to be honest. How to be present. How to be enough without needing to be everything. Okay, she said. Okay. Okay. We can try. We can build something new. But Bennett, if you ever lie to me again. I won't, he interrupted. I swear on Harper's life. On this baby's life. On my own. I won't. He pulled something from his pocket. Not a ring. A key.